I'm here in Hastings with Jude Montague, and today we're helping put up pictures for a new exhibition that I suppose you're curating, really, aren't you, with Matt Armstrong?
Yes, we are curating an exhibition about sex.
Fantastic. Erotic art. I was asked to do some work as well, which I put in here. It took me a while to figure out some ideas for erotic postcards. But it is a real mixture of artists you have here, from funniness to montages to kind of comical. Tell me more about them.
Huge amount of variety. The whole idea was because it's in a pub called the 1200 Postcards, and the name of the pub comes from a story, from an old story that took place in this building where the pub is, and that was that a guy who had a sweet shop, he was done. He was arrested for selling dirty postcards, 1200 postcards. Those 1200 postcards were destroyed, but now we are asking artists to recreate those postcards, and by doing 12 in their own style. And it's quite interesting because the people who've been taking part, they're not necessarily artists who sex is particularly a part of their work. So people have had to come at it in their own way, and everybody's come up with different solutions to within their own style. They're so varied. Should we have a look around?
Yeah, let's certainly, because I find it quite interesting about the Saucy Postcards. It's got a new take on it with all these.
Yeah, and it's a perfect place because we're right by the seaside, which is traditionally the home of the Saucy Postcard.
So the man that was arrested probably wasn't the usual Saucy Postcards you get in the shop at Hastings. They must have been pretty bad.
Yeah, I reckon they were they're pretty under-the-counter kind of affairs. Maybe a bit Readers' Wives-ish, if anybody is of an age to remember Readers' Wives. Yeah.
Because these ones obviously were coming from an artistic take here, with different people and the different artists. Maybe we should mention some of the artists that you've got displayed.
Yes, let's have a look at Yeva. She calls herself Aquarella because she works in watercolours usually, but I can see from the shiny, shiny ink that they're Indian ink, and these are really sort of very tasteful. They remind me of French Impressionism, maybe somebody like Bonnard, who drew his wife in the bath for their own female figures. And, yeah, very beautiful, sort of elegant kind of work, I think. And then you go along and let's have a look. Oh, Tom Bartlett, and his are not so much necessarily so crude in terms of the pictures, but they're certainly crude in terms of the text that he's put with them and the sort of the jokes that he's got going on. They're a little bit satire, I would say, from newspapers and things.
Private Eye kind of thing.
Yeah, like an extra rude or an extra level from Private Eye. A bit more obscene than Private Eye, perhaps.
Because there's a lot of peni everywhere and a lot of bosom.
Penises and cocks feature highly in this show.
Because you've got every artist to do 12, haven't you? There's 12 postcards.
For everyone. A couple of people didn't manage to do 12, and we've still included them. But we're going to have an auction for it, and they're all going to be sold as sets, because I think that it really says something about the artist when you see a whole set. It would be a crime, another crime, to split up these sets of beautiful work. Here's one by Mandy Prowse, and she has combined... Well, using collage, she's combined flowers and photographs, and I think it's quite clever because flowers are the sexual organ of plants, although they're not so much dirty to us human beings. Maybe if you're another plant, you probably find that very sexy indeed.
Oh, to some people, flowers are very erotic.
Matt Armstrong there shouting into the background. These are brilliant. I love these ones from Mark Woods. They're all of him. So they're all like self-portraits he's done of himself, dressed up as women mostly, but not always. And they're playing on the sort of office character. They're a bit retro, that sort of power imagery and S&M thing that you get with offices, typewriters, and sort of old-fashioned really. There he is, sort of fur coat and no knickers on one of them, and looking beautiful in pink, pretty in pink on a scooter. with his lovely pair of pastel pink heels.
I like his naughty secretary.
Oh yeah,
And the tartan.
Yes, yeah. they're really good, but very playful. And then next to him, Doug Hayward's done some collages where he's been kind of appropriating advertising, which is something I know Doug does a bit. He works with found stuff. He loves graffiti. That he's taken bits of cardboard advertising and worked with them about it. Let's have a look on the table. Ooh, Rachel Williams. She's a printmaker, and these are very tasteful, beautiful printmaking, small prints that she's done, featuring a lot of animals with large penises, which of course has that kind of ancient Greek vibe, and I think an Egyptian style as well.
Yeah, so we're bringing some of the ancient mythology into it as well. I can see we've even got some masks, the dreaded masks of the last few years, but done out with some different writings on them. Hardhead, wet love, masked balls, saucy sidelines, nip on need, soft tones, well and truly pricked, flesh fruit, tit tango, sex guest, vowed frost, and a bit of viral load just to finish off.
Yeah, they were brilliant because they're like a poem, and actually I know that the person who did them, Emma Roper Evans, she is a poet, so that's funny. But it's good that she's found her own way of doing it, bringing poetry to it. And I did want people to do poetry, but not many of my poetry friends rose to the occasion, but Emma Roper Evans did with her sexy text masks. These are funny. They're from James Kerr, who lives in Scotland. He's going to fly down for a day to see this exhibition. Excellent. And to see our gig, because we're playing a gig on Friday, the 1st of April. And he's coming down for that. But this is so funny, because what he's done is he's taken a classic Saucy postcard and just used the image of that, and in a nudist camp, one of those sort of bottom sort of jokes, sort of sexy joke thing where somebody shows their bottom, and the text that's put into the mouths of the sexy sword card lady is, "I am a forest and a night of dark trees, but he who is not afraid of my darkness will find banks full of roses under my cypresses."
So a little something to ponder on there. Saucy pictures with philosophical writings.
Exactly, it's kind of a good combination, you've got the juxtaposition.
Yeah, because when's the auction for these pictures?
Oh yeah, the auction is the 16th of April, and we're fundraising for Haven Books to Prisoners, which is a charity set up by Lee from a bookshop here called Printed Matter, because we're on Queen's Road, Hastings, and that's where we're going to get books to prisoners through the power of Saucy Postcard.
So people come down to Hastings on the 16th of April for the auction, but then the actual gallery upstairs will be open throughout up until then.
Yeah.
For people to come and look and view at the bar.
That's right, because it's a bar, and it's open the exhibition's open during the bar times, it's not open Monday, Tuesday, but on the other days. And you can find the times online at 1200 Postcards. If you go on Facebook, they've got a page there, and check it out. And it's really good because when people have events here, which there's lots of people coming through the pub, they'll be able to come up and sort of get away from it all, because we're in the room above the pub here, have a little quiet moment before they go back down and rejoin their friends. Yeah,
like the 1970s, come to the private room upstairs.
Exactly, it's a kind of chapel of the body or something to regroup your thoughts.
Well, thanks very much, Jude. Everybody come along and see the exhibition and perhaps buy something from the auction. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.